I think you guys are going to really benefit from what I'm going to say here. O'Shea Jackson just woke up. He just woke from his conservative dream. Uh, I'm going to take you back to a conversation O'Shea and I had maybe 2 years ago. Definitely a year and a half, but probably 2 years ago. And O'Shea and I were talking about ABL. ABL had started to come over to O'Shea's show. And O'Shea had mentioned something about conservatism. And I said, well, I don't really consider ABL a conservative. I consider him an anti black. Because his talking points are against black folks. They're not for the power of black folks, the empowerment of black folks. Because his father was an anti-black talker, he has inherited that. But I said to O'Shea in that conversation, I don't really get into the dude like that because he doesn't even know who started conservatism. I asked ABL who started conservatism, and he had no idea. And O'Shea said to me, well, I'm getting new into this conservative thing as well, so I'm not really versed. And I said, yeah, so I understand. And we moved on to a different conversation. Our conversation about ABL lasted maybe 30, 40 seconds. It wasn't even nothing major. But in that piece, I said to O'Shea, I've been a conservative since '86, since Easy E went into the White House. I'm well versed on policies, bills, all those type of things. And the Democrats do just as much dirt as the Republicans do. People, I'm glad these young new conservatives are putting pressure on Democrats. About that, I'm okay with. Nancy Pelosi is poison. Hillary Clinton is poison. Not because they're women, because they do so much dirt and unnecessary dirt. We don't get no benefit from what Nancy Pelosi does other than saving Republicans from destroying America with many of their Dick Cheney plans. Saving America financially, her and Barney Frank. So on those things, that's policy. That's something you can quote. You can dig into the details. When you get some of these other new conservatives, they just talk about the red herring fantasy unicorn, and they never talk about the policy. They'll try to redirect and say, well, but what about black people? But what about black people? But what about black people? No, that isn't the question on the table. The question is the policy. The power in the policy. And this is why I talk about a lot of younger, new conservatives. All they can do is talk anti-black. That's not power. And so what I saw today, O'Shea woke up from this, wait a minute, you dudes are talking this black this, anti-black this, but as it relates to Brexit, that's just helping the Republicans get a foothold for right now. What's going to happen after that? See, O'Shea woke up because he peeped what the conservative plan is. I can't even call it conservative. I mean Republican. Conservative is an ideology of how to govern. Republican is a group. O'Shea peeped out the Republican plan. We're going to bankroll and use these blacks as a temporary debunk for the Democrats getting some power. But Oshay is starting to peep. Wait a minute. Republicans are in power for the past year, going on 2 years. What have they done for black people? So just because I say leave the Democrats and get what? This is the point. And Oshay is realizing it. He's peeping the game. He's like, wait a minute. You're not going to change my mind, because here you guys are talking for the Republicans. It's almost like you're talking, and I'm saying this, he didn't say this, but it's almost like you're talking Stormfront at this point. You're talking anti-black, but where's the power in that? And Oshay said it very well. I'm for my people first. I'm black first. And this is something I said to him in our private conversation. I'm black first. I'm not Republican first, conservative first. I'm black first. So if there's some Democrat issues that go to our people, it's just like when people say Obama did nothing for black people. Obama defunded private jails. A lot of the reasons why people were getting locked up so much was because Bill Clinton gave these private jails the ability to create a jail so they can house people. Now, you're saying, well, they need to house people. No. What was happening in the old system prior to Bill Clinton's evil ass was that if you had a severe situation, you were housed. And then if you were housed, other people who had lesser infractions were kicked out because yours had more severity. And it's a government facility ran by government employees. It wasn't for profit. But when Bill Clinton created private jails and George W. Bush reinforced private jails, that's when you had the several years, 12 years of black male incarceration. But you don't understand that because some of you guys don't understand policy. Both parties participated in the incarceration. But I'm probably the only black conservative to speak about it because I'm not trying to get mayonnaise approval. I'm not trying to please the mayonnaise man. And this is something I believe Oshay just woke up from. He's like, wait a minute. You dudes are saying stuff that has nothing to do with the empowerment of black people. You dudes are just talking, and he didn't say this, I'm saying this. You dudes are just talking anti-black. What about black folks? What about black folks? I mean, how many times are you going to say that? Which he said in this video. Very well stated. You can't as a conservative say that you love conservatism and you see Mitch McConnell raise the deficit and the debt higher than it's ever been for rich people. You can't say you love conservatism. But you'll do something like ABL and say, well, what about? That has no, what about is deflection. What about is not, has nothing to do with policy. And Oshay, y'all know I like Oshay. I don't speak against the brother. A lot, it's so funny. A lot of people have tried their best to get me to. Won't you say something about Oshay? Man, look, we are classy over here. We don't sit up here and put each other under the bus, dude. If anything, we call each other and have those conversations. We don't put each other publicly under the bus. That's ridiculous. And a lot of you dudes, which goes to Oshay's thing, a lot of you dudes trying to edge me on to do that type of stuff, you're part of the problem too. That's not for blackness. Blackness is not having people argue. Blackness is about power. And Oshay made a great statement. If you're not financially putting this stuff together, then, I mean, if you're Candace Owens, if you're one of the other black conservatives that been on O'Shea thing, I think Shirley Hauser is the only one who's close to being even and fair. Shirley Hauser is the only conservative that I've met ever who said, I'm for my people. Other than that, nobody else is. Every other black conservative I've met is either brand new, new to the game, kind of like O'Shea is, and they respect the conservative values, but they don't respect the Republican moves. So I think O'Shea is waking up to, I respect the conservative principles, but I don't respect the Republican moves. Blocking people from voting. Why are you only doing that when it's time for an election? I've seen that probably 8 times in my lifetime. And it's always Republicans trying to stop people from voting. Stopping Native Americans from voting. Stopping Chinese communities from voting. Stopping black people from voting. But I'm supposed to be all about the Republicans? No, I'm going to be about the policy that suits my conservative opinion of how things should be. Private jails were defunded by Obama. He helped the black community when he did that. He helped a lot of black men when he did that. Obama freed a lot of black people. So, I really applaud O'Shea for putting out. It takes courage to do what he's doing now. Because like I said, I've been in O'Shea's situation before. You have a very popular YouTube thing. And when you start making just real comments, that's when people get turned off. And I applaud the brother for taking this stance, because it's not a popular stance. The stance I walk, the stance he's about to walk, the stance that Shirley walks. It's not a popular stance. I've been on shows with Shirley where she said she's for her people first. Hey, look. And when she did that, I applauded her, because it's hard for conservative people to do that type of stuff. But with all that said, I say this. We as black conservatives, and this goes to O'Shea's greater point, we as black conservatives have to financially bankroll what benefits black people. If we're not financially bankrolling what benefits black people, then we're just serving white agenda. We're just serving pro-KK talking points. We're just serving Ku Klux Klan talking points. If we don't speak about what helps black people, then we're just serving Stormfront. Let me leave you with the black conservative solution. If Republicans were really for us, and they were really for the family, like they claim they are, they would, every time we promote a bill, like House Bill 2312 was promoted at one point in time, think like 2014, 2015, and that would have equaled out a lot of the family court nonsense that goes on. If you're all about the family, then you would empower the father. If your complaint is that the black father is not in the home, then you would stop going against bills like House Bill 2312 back in 2014, 2015, that helps that situation. See, I'm well versed on these policies because you have to be. Because talking points is just a speech. It's just a speech. When you tell the audience about the details, they're like, oh, wow, I didn't even know that happened. You didn't even know Obama tried to help black fathers with back child support. And it was stopped by Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan. You didn't know that because you don't understand digging into the policy. And when I say you, I mean all of us who are not researched, not no one particular person, but all of us who don't research this stuff that we speak. See, we will allow ABL to get on the microphone, any microphone in Washington, D.C., New York. We'll allow the ABLs, we'll allow Tatum, we'll allow Candace, we'll allow people to get on the microphone and make these 1 hour speeches about what about black people, what about black people, what about black people, and at no time talk about any policy. In my view, those people are dangerous. But it's like I said, I'm glad, very happy my brother Oshay is waking up to the game of talking anti-black, but not talking about black empowerment amongst conservatives. Forget Democrats for a minute. Amongst conservatives. Very, very outstanding. Glad he sees it now. Go check out his video on Blexit and you'll see what I'm talking about. You see, what a lot of people, they came around Oshay telling Oshay speeches, but they never dug into the why and the power. And now that Oshay sees this Blexit thing as a policy against black voting for the sake of Republican power, a Republican power that hasn't promised these black conservatives nothing. So these black conservatives are cheering, but what's getting better for them and what's being done specifically for them? Are they getting a trickle down effect, which I think they are, or are they getting something direct? So this is a very good thing. It's good that he sees it as a powerless move. You're just transitioning from Democrats to Republicans the same way you back after Lincoln's death, you transferred from Republican to Democrat. Same move. Nothing different. Let's talk about power and those Republican speeches. Those Democrat speeches mean nothing. We have to be black first. And when you get on these microphones and you start talking anti-black, those people got to get called out on it. But I decided I'm going to create a whole channel just teaching politics, just teaching straight politics, because Oshay should not have to go through this experience of realizing that a lot of these people who claim to be conservative either know nothing about conservative or are very anti-black. He shouldn't even have to experience that, because we should not be allowing these people to just continue to talk anti-black in our space, because it confuses people, and then people don't know what the real policies and issues are. And that's what the mayonnaise people are hoping for. They're hoping that a lot of young new conservatives will fool black people. But I'm an old school conservative. Can't fool me.